Hi, here we are. We are live.
Okay.
Hi, Nicole.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode number 56 of the For Animals for Earth podcast slash video cast. Today, we are talking about saving foxes from fur farms. And I'm here with Nicole Navarro of Pawsitive Beginnings. Pawsitive Beginnings is a fur farm rescue. You're located down in Key West, Florida,
Key
and you
Largo.
provide Key
Sorry.
Largo. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you for correcting me.
Sorry.
Key Largo,
Sorry.
Florida. Key Largo. So she's in Key Largo, which you can imagine is hot right now. So I was
Yes.
just thinking, we just moved locations, and now you're in the heat. So
Right.
even more
It's
reason
okay.
we'll move it move it along.
It's okay.
But Nicole provides safe and permanent homes for foxes that have been rescued from the fur trade, which is just so incredible. I have to tell you, I am just on cloud nine right now, getting the chance
Aw.
to interview you and talk to you and learn all about this. For those of you who are For Animals for Earth podcast followers, I met Nicole through Kristen Burford, who runs the Care Foundation up in Central Florida, and she does exotic pet rescue. She was on the podcast back in episodes 29 and 30, I believe. And she mentioned Nicole and Nicole's work as being one of the biggest things that she thinks we as individuals can do to make a difference in the world. And so that's how I met you. And
Yeah.
yeah, I'm just so excited for today. So, as I mentioned, I have a million questions.
Okay.
So we'll just go ahead and dive right in.
All right.
All right. Um, I know that you grew up on a horse farm and you've been around animals your whole
Yeah.
life, but foxes are somewhat new as of like 2018. And
Yes.
obviously, your nonprofit is new. And
Right.
so I wondered if you could just walk us through a bit of your story as it relates to animal welfare and then how you got to the point where you started and you started Positive Beginnings and you're at where you are today.
Okay, so yeah, like you said, I grew up on a 30-acre horse farm in western Pennsylvania. So always surrounded by animals, and our neighbor was actually the wildlife rehabilitator for our county. So I was always exposed to animals and learned to respect them from a very young age. Seeing her rehab them and then get released back into the wild. And then, our own animals, the horses, dogs, cats, etc., etc. So just having a immense amount of respect for animals from a very young age sort of led me up to this point, where I am today. So I won't go through all almost 41 years of my life, but that's where the roots were planted and where my passion was definitely born. So I guess fast forward,
Mhm.
since we don't have a lot of time. In 2017, I was living in Key West, Florida, and I was working at the Hemingway home down there, and they are famous for their six-toed cats because Ernest Hemingway loved cats. And one of the first cats he ever got from a captain that came into port in Key West was a six-toed cat. So I was living in Key West and working there, and then Hurricane Irma happened. So one of the largest hurricanes to ever make landfall in the Florida, well, one of the largest named hurricanes to ever make landfall in the Florida. And working at the Hemingway home, 10 of us decided to stay and care for the cats. So we went through the thick of the storm, brought all the cats inside to make sure they were safe, cleaned up after the storm. We didn't have power for, I think, 2 weeks. So we were living off generator, using to take showers. And this will lead me into the next. So also in Key West, there is a facility at our county jail, which is on Stock Island, which is also considered Key West. And underneath the jail is a USDA regulated zoo. So inmates care for all the animals. They have sloths, lemurs, kinkajous, goats, pigs, miniature horses, a zebu, a coatimundi. So they call it the Monroe County Sheriff's Office Animal Farm, but literally what it is a USDA regulated zoo and the only one in the world of its kind at a detention facility. And since I was living in Key West, I would always ask if I could volunteer there just to sort of be close to animals. And the answer was always no, because of the inmates. You know, they didn't want a female volunteer working around male inmates. Okay. So I got it. But after Hurricane Irma, I reached out to the woman that runs the animal farm because they had evacuated all of the inmates up to, I think, West Palm Beach to a more secure facility because they weren't sure the damage that Hurricane Irma was going to do. So I reached out to her, and finally she said, yes, come help. You know, we need, because they had moved all of the animals from the farm up into the jail.
Wow.
To protect them.
Wow.
So the jail, because of flooding and hurricanes, sits 11 feet off the ground.
Oh, so, nice. Okay.
Yeah. So underneath the jail is the farm. So they brought all the animals up. So she finally agreed to let me come help. So, you know, I helped clean up, groom the horses because they were a mess, just clean out enclosures, get things organized. And her and I just really hit it off and became extremely good friends, to the point where I was then allowed to come back and volunteer even though the inmates were down there, you know, under the agreement that I don't communicate with them and they're told to stay away from me, which is fine. Then in 2018, I had moved back up to Key Largo because my mother lives up here. Hurricane Irma just took sort of an emotional toll on everyone that decided to stay and sort of went through it. So I was kind of at a point in my life where I was just down. You know, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was just kind of lost mentally. But I was still going down to volunteer at the farm almost every week, actually. And then in November of 2018, 2 foxes were surrendered down there to her. Okay. A private owner had them actually right here in Key Largo, and she decided she, wanted them to have a better life, so they went to the jail. And so this is the first time I had ever been around foxes. You know, growing up on a farm, you see them, you hear them, but they're just like there and gone. You know, so I really had never had any personal experience with the species in general. So I just became totally fascinated and infatuated of their personalities, their characteristic traits. And these 2 foxes were considered pets. One did come from a fur farm, and the other one's origins were unknown. And foxes are very sensitive creatures, so getting moved around a lot has a lot of takes its toll on them. So obviously they were very skittish, very untrustworthy, and something amazing happened week after week after week of me going there. You know, I developed this bond with these foxes, the female fox specifically, and it's like a light switch went off in my head, because as I am creating this bond with these animals, I'm also learning about the horrors that still go on in the United States regarding fur farming. And during that time as well, I had reached out to some other fox rescues, which I didn't even know fox rescues exist. I knew fur farms existed, but the concept of being able to get one off a farm and rescue it was just like mind-blowing to me. So I had reached out to some other fox rescues here in the United States, one in Florida specifically. So I started volunteering some time with her. She's up in Tampa. And the more I was around them, it's like, these light bulbs kept going off. And so I decided that, one day I'm going to rescue a fox. So just to be prepared, I applied for my state permitting, which is required to own any exotic animal down here. So I got that and just, tucked it away for safekeeping. And I was like, well, maybe I should, you know, start a business. Just, you know, just have it. So when I do start a rescue, so I did that and got the paperwork back on that, incorporated in the state of Florida. And then last year, when COVID really stopped the world dead in its tracks, I got laid off at my job down here. The Keys closed down. They had a barricade up at the county line. So if you didn't live here, you were not getting in here. And if you did not work here, you were not getting in here. And so the day I got laid off, because we shut down, we're a tourist town. So with tourists not coming in, there's nothing to do. Sorry, that's one of the many animals we
I love it. I love it. I love when they chime in.
That's not a fox, though. That's loudmouth Lucy. Lucy
awesome.
the dog.
Hi, Lucy.
Yeah. She's very vocal about her opinions on the UPS man out front.
Right.
Yeah, when we shut, literally the same day I got laid off, I got a text from Stacy, the woman that runs Faux Fur and Friends, and said, "Can you take 2 foxes off a fur farm?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, you know what? Yeah, let's do it. I don't have an income right now, but we're gonna figure this out. You know, we're gonna figure it out." And I wasn't a 501c3 yet, but because so many people on my personal Facebook page, because I hadn't even announced the business yet, had been following my journey with the foxes in Key West. You know, when I said that I have the opportunity to do this and I need help, the entire road trip to get them their enclosure, everything was fully funded by people just donating.
Wow. Oh,
knowing
that's so amazing.
Knowing it wasn't going to be a tax break, because I wasn't even a 501c3 yet. But, you know, everyone felt so passionately about it, because I was passionate about it, that they just got behind me 100%. So last April, I drove straight through from Key Largo to Ohio to pick up the first 2 foxes, Libby and Louie, fresh off the fur farm. They had to stay in Tampa with Stacy for a little bit because their enclosure wasn't even built yet. That's how fast this all happened. So on May 3rd of last year, I officially welcomed them home. And the day after I brought them home, I got my IRS letter in the mail saying that we were 501c3. So
wow.
It's just, yeah, the universe was like, "Yep, this is what you're doing." You know, I've really had no major hiccups along the way. And so someone that's very dear to me always said, "Well, that means you're walking in purpose." You know, you're just walking in purpose, not on purpose. You are in purpose with what you are supposed to be doing. And I always love that. And she reminds me of that often when I'm ripping out my hair, because I have a full-time job and I'm a full-time fox mom. And, you know, she has to remind me of that when my, you know, steam's coming out of my ears. And then not long after that, in June, they reached out to me again, a rescue in Minnesota, and said, "Can you take 2 more?" And I was like, "We're on a roll. Let's just do it. You know, let's just do it." Yeah. So July 17th of last year, I met Michaela from Save a Fox Rescue up in Miami, and she had brought Jasper and Penny all the way from Minnesota. And that was extremely emotional because they were fresh off the fur farm. You know, Libby and Louie got a chance to decompress in Tampa, you know, while I was finishing their enclosure. But the night I brought Jasper and Penny home here, it was the first time they had ever touched solid ground.
Wow.
So seeing them like creep out of their crates and like just so unsure, because all they had been used to was living, you know, 4 feet suspended off the ground in a 4x4 wire cage their whole life. And then the next, you know, I have video of all this on, I think, my Instagram page. And so the next day, you know, I hear something going on out here, and Penny had found a toy and she's just flipping it up in the air. She's pouncing around. So moments like that are what make it all worth it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
So,
Wow. So how old were they and how did you end up being able to rescue them?
so I don't have any sort of communication with fur farmers. The woman in Minnesota has developed some sort of working relationship with them, where if they're deemed undesirable and they're just going to kill them anyway, they kill them no matter what. I mean, make that perfectly clear.
Yeah.
They kill
Right.
them no matter what, but if their fur is deemed not good enough, they'll just kill them.
Okay.
So the woman in Minnesota, I guess, reaches out to the fur farmers every year and says, listen, if you have any that you don't need. I mean, I honestly don't know the inner workings of it,
Mhm.
but she has developed that relationship with them where he will release some to her. So that's how that's done. I'm not sure that I could ever have a kind conversation with a fur farmer, but I'm grateful that, you know, people can. I'm
Yeah.
grateful that people can. I'll be happy to take them. I
Mhm.
just don't want to go get them because I'd probably cause a scene. You know, I'd probably cause a scene.
That relationship might be off as soon as it
Yeah,
started.
yeah, and that's the beautiful thing about rescue. Anyway, everyone has a purpose. Her purpose is to do what she does. My purpose right here, right now, today, and it could change at any time, is to care for the animals that can be rescued.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, and you need everybody, right? Because to your
yeah,
point, if she wasn't able to do that and she wasn't able to maintain the relationship,
right,
in a way that maintains it, that it wouldn't happen. So,
right.
yeah, that's really incredible. And then it sounds like she maybe has kind of a network then of different people that she can then send the animals
Yeah,
to.
so basically, in the last year, fox rescues have started to pop up all over the country, which is pretty amazing. There's quite a few here in Florida now. A good friend of mine, Molly Schultz, runs Walking Wild Rescue in Ohio, and um, she just broke ground on a $500,000 fox barn that she'll be able to house, like, I think 65 foxes in. Um, so it's come a long way just in the last year and a half for,
Hmm.
people that are qualified. That's a big thing too. Foxes are not like a dog, not like a cat. You really need to know what you're doing and what their needs are to be able to house them. So the fact that so many qualified people have stepped up in the last year and a half, you know, I forget what the number was last year, but it was a lot. It was a double-digit number of foxes that were able to be saved from fur
Wow.
farms. So, yeah,
Wow, that's amazing.
yeah,
Oh, that's so cool. It's like a good thing to come out of COVID, maybe, like different
right,
people having time or having just priority shifts, things change.
yeah,
Like, yeah,
yeah. My
yeah.
friend Zach, he does opera up in New York City. He's like, your pandemic project is my favorite. I was like, thank
It's
you.
awesome.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
so cool.
My pandemic project was crazy, and unplanned. Totally unplanned. But I mean, left to my own devices, I tend to second guess myself and doubt myself. And when it was just like there, and I need to make a decision, I just made the decision. Because if I
Yes.
if I overthink things, it never. I probably missed out on a lot of great opportunities because I tend to overthink everything.
I mean, I definitely relate. I think that's a similar thing for so many of us, and
Yeah,
I was thinking, as you were telling your story about how just like something I'm really passionate about learning more about is that like human animal bond and
right.
how it brings us all through their species and our species. And it really does bring us down to that moment where we can't spend a whole lot of time thinking when a human and an animal are together. You just have to do and be present and follow whatever divine guidance is coming above all of us.
Right.
And yeah, it's I think there's just so much to be said for that. And it's just not that it's just starting to come into our consciousness or psyche, but I really do think it's becoming so much more mainstream, understood and known that there really is so much that can happen.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Through that bond.
I mean, you don't, you know, when I developed the bond with the foxes in Key West, you know, it's not like I questioned her, like, are you sure you like me? Like, you know, it's so different. Like, you know, it's just like, oh my God, you love me. You know? But with people, we're like, what's their motive? You know, so it's so unique and it's so pure when animals choose you to be their person. You know, these foxes, Libby's laying right beside. I'm in a fox kennel, by the way. I probably should have started off with that. I'm not in jail. I'm not. I'm sitting in the fox kennel because there's horrible reception, so I'm sitting outside. But like Libby and Louie, I can't pet them. I can't, you know, interact physically with them. They aren't aggressive towards me, but whatever they suffered, whatever trauma they suffered, whatever humans did to them, they have not forgot. You know, so it's not about me. It's about me as a species. They just don't trust. And that's okay. I didn't save them or take them in so they would be my best friends. You know, the point of rescue is to rescue and no expectations attached to that. So she's walking around right now. She's not horrified of me. She just, you know, she just wants me to keep my distance, and that's cool. I respect the boundaries, you know. I respect the boundaries.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I assume that animals that are rescued from fur farms, there's no chance of them ever being able to be trained to live in the wild. Or if you got them small enough, no.
No. Okay. So any wild animal that is captive bred, it is 100% illegal to release them into the wild for a number of reasons. Even though you got it as a baby, the instincts that have been passed down from generation of captive bred animals, not likely they would survive. Also, inbreeding, genetic defects, they could potentially introduce that into wild populations. And only 2 of my foxes have naturally occurring colors in the wild. So releasing an animal that isn't even a natural color, easy for predators to pick off. And then, you know, again, the breeding situation, it just wouldn't be so good. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. So in reality, for rescue to grow, it's not it. I mean, you need bigger and bigger space and more enclosures, basically. How long? What's the average lifespan?
In the wild, it's only about 3 to 5 years, just to you know, disease, or she's trying to steal my shoe. Disease or you know, other predators, just natural. 3 to 5 years is their life expectancy. In captivity, 10 to 15.
Oh, wow. Okay.
With you know, proper diet, top of the line veterinary care that they get here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. So a little bit, we talked a little bit about kind of the fur farm industry, but something that was pretty shocking to me was that, well, number one, let me say, I was watching your documentary, Chasing Fur, which I think is so cool, and I want people to go check that out. It's really short. It's only like 8.5 minutes or something. Right. So people can go watch Chasing Fur on your website and learn a ton about the industry. So I just wanted to kind of hit a quick highlight, which was a highlight to me, or I don't know if you want to call it a highlight, a learning, is in a lot of countries, fur is actually banned, but in the United States, it's kind of alive and well. There's 400 fur farms
that we know of, because the USDA, which governs most of these fur farms, stopped reporting on them. They did not stop reporting per se. They go out and take, they have to get reports on how many animals were taken in, how many were killed for their fur, this, that, the other thing. But there's no way for the public to monitor it. So they protect the fur farmers from retaliation. And very few federal statutes on to how these animals should be kept. Foxes are not social as far as being real big pack animals, but their desire to hunt and forage and dig and play with their siblings when they're younger and mate during that season, that hasn't been bred out of them. So a lot of these foxes are psychologically just damaged.
How so, as humans, there are different things that we can do that kind of help us psychologically, different things being studied all the time. Once they're out of that captivity, the ones that are rescued, do you see that they're able to heal some of those wounds? I know you'd never be able to heal everything, but
right. Yeah, I mean, Libby and Louie, early in the morning and late at night, they tear through their enclosure back and forth, and I hear squeaking on balls and they're digging holes. So I mean, it comes right back. It's not lost. It comes back for them for sure. Jasper and Penny is in overall really great health. Jasper is 5 years old, so the reason he lasted so long on the fur farm is because they were using him as a breeder. And then as he got older, my vet assumes that his neurological issues started to present themselves more, so he just wouldn't breed anymore. So that's why they were going to kill him and Penny, because Jasper wouldn't breed with Penny. So Jasper has more physical damage than emotional. He's very childlike because of his neurological issues. And then the two babies, I haven't even mentioned them yet, Coral and Reef, they are, because they were rescued at so young, only 10 days old, they don't know anything different than being loved. They know nothing different. So they have just been able to be foxes from day one. Obviously, they're, here with me. They can't ever be released into the wild, but I don't limit what they can do. They've actually taken over everything because I don't limit what they can do. So it's been really interesting to see the contrast of them being able to grow up being exactly who they were born to be, as opposed to the 4 adults, that missed out on childhood, basically. So
wow. Yeah, that's got to be pretty crazy to see.
Yeah.
And it's just to be clear in our conversation, and as everybody is listening, fur farms are very much alive and happening in the US, and it's not just foxes. There's other species of animals as well.
Mink is the number one here in the United States, mink farms.
Okay.
I mean, but they have rabbit farms, chinchilla farms, bobcat, believe it or not. Anything that produces fur that people will buy, these people will farm them.
And it's right. So it's because there's consumer demand.
Yes.
So there are brands that are continuing to make things out of real fur, and there's a consumer demand for it. And that, I always like to hit on one simple idea in every interview I do. And I ask the people I'm interviewing, can you share one thing off the top of your mind that people could do today, right now, to help animals or the environment within the realm that you work? And, I think it's obviously fighting this fur industry, but I wonder, like, what kind of tactical ideas can you give people that they can like jump in and start helping right now?
I mean, there's campaigns going on right now to end Louis Vuitton, Dolce & Gabbana, and Yves Saint Laurent from stopping selling fur. Those are the 3 major ones that I know of right now, because in the last couple of months, a lot of people have made the decision to go for free, meaning designers, Canada Goose, Saks Fifth Avenue, Neiman Marcus, they've all decided to drop the fur. But Louis Vuitton is probably my, so obviously if people want to help, don't buy fur, but go one step further and don't even buy anything. I know a lot of people love their Louis bags, but even if you buy that bag, you're continuing them to be able to make the sales to purchase the fur from the auctions that the fur farmers take their pelts to, which leads back to the animals suffering. So hold out on that Louis bag for Christmas this year, and maybe they'll get the hint that it's just time to go fur free. And there's so many other animals used in fashion right now. I could go way off on it, but since we're talking about fur, I'm going to stick with that. So the easiest thing to do, even if you don't own fur, don't support the companies that sell it.
That is, that's a great idea, because I think probably a lot of people don't even know that those companies are selling fur. I mean, I don't think I did. I mean, I'm not a high fashion person, but I did not. I think in my mind, I thought for the most part, fur was gone, except for maybe in China or something, but I guess in my mind, I just kind of thought fur was gone at this point. But it's really not. And what's so hard about it is that it's such a cruel industry. It's not it's not like ancient hunting where people used the fur to keep themselves alive in the middle of winter. It's like this is a factory money making process at the expense of animals.
Yeah, we're in 2021. So unless you're off the grid, living off the land, which most people aren't, people that are buying fur are anything but. So, and celebrities endorse it too, and that's the big thing, that people see Rihanna wearing the brand new neon fox fur coat that Louis Vuitton launched for their spring 2022 runway show. All these people think it's amazing. People see Jennifer Lopez wearing real fur in that movie Hustlers, and she looks so gorgeous. Where can I get that coat? So it's the celebrities keeping it alive as well. It's, everyday people that can afford to buy it, and the celebrities that are just pushing it. And you can't tell me they don't know what it is.
Right. I was going to say, it's like maybe I can't with the celebrities. I feel like you have to know. You have to know, but you probably just disconnect from it in a way of you don't see it in your face. So it's just kind of like
it's a total disconnect. I always wish people meaning people that wear fur, celebrities, would just come here and let Coral and Reef just climb all over them and run up to them, and then
yeah, and realize they're living beings, right? Because I was just because I was thinking something so interesting, especially about foxes, is that so many people have dogs, and their dogs are their family member and their their life, and they see all of the characteristics in the dogs. But then you go to an animal like a fox that is obviously different, but not that much, not so drastic that you can't see it.
It's in the canine family,
right. Yeah. And I see like your photos and your videos with your dogs sleeping in or not your dogs, the foxes, they'll be in the bed or whatever. And you can really see the personalities and I mean, so that's why you do this work, right? It's like get the footage out there, get the information out there, so more and more people realize that these are living beings with personalities, with attitudes, with so much to them that there really is no reason why they should be raised for fur.
No, there's none. Like I can't think of one.
And that's what's kind of interesting, right? Is like there's not really one outside of the commercial aspect of it. And
Right.
you know, a lot of things, it's not as black and white, but you know, it's like with
This is
this, it's just kind
very
of, yeah,
this is
yeah,
very black and white, and you know that's why I don't post gory stuff ever. I mean, I can point you in the right direction if you want to see gory stuff, but my focus from day one has been to highlight all of their personalities and how amazing they are, how smart they are, how silly they are. That it's not just a fur trim.
yeah,
You know,
right. And I think that is a way to reach new people that maybe, you
right?
know, because it is, I think a lot of people do shut off quickly
Yeah,
with the horrors that are the industry, which it's mind blowing. It really
yeah,
is mind blowing. But yeah, I do think you're able to reach people because they can get through that filter and
right,
see, oh wow, they're so cute, they're so sweet, you know.
right. And even
Um,
people that care about the environment, fur farms, they're horrible for the environment. They use formaldehyde, chromium, and ammonia to preserve the pelts. Two of those have been proven to cause cancer. So the workers that make it are being exploited and exposed, and the area surrounding the actual fur farms, that land is destroyed. All the waste runoff getting into the waterways, it totally destroys ecosystems.
wow,
So it's
wow.
everything. Like you can't tell me one thing where I'm not going to have a comeback for it on this one, because all the way around it is just horrendous. So
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Wow. So people can support you in a lot of different ways. I know right
yeah,
now you have a fundraiser going on,
I
but you
do.
can, yeah. So tell us about the fundraiser and then about the other ways that people can support your work.
So the fundraiser is, I mean, all these guys have huge enclosures, but I want to tear down Jasper and Penny's current enclosure and build them a brand new one that connects to Coral and Reef's enclosure, because Penny is obsessed with being their mom and she screams all day and all night about it. So I want to give her access to them where I don't have to like catch her and take her over there, because that's stressful for everyone. So I want them to have something taller, wider, and connects right to the babies, which will essentially give everyone 500 square foot of room. So, yeah.
That's amazing. And I mean, how awesome too that she is immediately kicking into like a motherly instinct of
Oh,
sorts.
yeah, it's crazy. She's crazy about it. She is wild. It's so interesting to watch. I feel bad for her, but so that's why I'm trying to get this funded so I can give her that experience.
That's that she could be a mom. That's awesome.
She might not want it once she meets them face
Right?
to face, but just in case. So
Right, for sure.
yeah.
And then you can also sponsor a fox.
Yeah, you can sponsor a fox. Everything is right, Lucy. Everything
Likes
is
that one.
everything is right on my website. That's the easiest place for people to go, because from there you can get to Facebook, Instagram. But yeah, there's a fox sponsorship section. Anything from as little as $5 a month up to 75 for a primary fox sponsor, which helps with a lot of their monthly care around here. And then list, people love sending, gifts to the foxes, and Amazon Smile, you can choose us to be your charity. And that actually helps a lot too. I mean, it's a small percentage, but it's something coming in every month. So
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure like every little bit helps.
every little bit
Yeah.
helps. Yeah, it's probably about $700 a month just to feed them,
Okay.
because they
Okay.
get really high quality raw meat, the adults do, and then the babies are on a more specific diet for right now. And then unexpected vet bills are always my favorite. So yeah, every little thing helps. I always say on my post, like literally every dollar helps, because if everyone that saw it donated $1, it'd be wild. So
Right. Right, right. And it's I think if you're listening or watching and you're feeling that passion, like, even go watch the Chasing Fur documentary, share this interview, share the other interviews that Nicole's done, sponsor, help, even if it's $1. I mean, I think
Yep.
that's amazing because there's something about that little bit of action, I think, that just makes it sorry, stick in your head a little longer.
Right.
And then come up in conversation. Talk about this too. Talk about it with your
Yeah.
friends. Like, talk about the fact that fur is still alive and like how to not. One more question.
Yeah.
You have brands that are faux fur
Yeah.
brands that are awesome that you
Yeah.
love. Can you share those?
So
Or I know of one at least.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Spirit Hoods. They have been amazing from day one. I reached out to them last year, and one thing led to another. Everything was still kind of crazy because of COVID, but once we got in sync with each other, they're amazing. Their products are amazing, and they're fun. So if you like the look of fur, like, no one judges you for that. Just don't wear the real thing. But Spirit Hoods, has funky neon colors, and they have hoods and blankets, which Coral and Reef sleep on their faux fur blanket all the time. Yeah, Spirit Hoods would be my number one suggestion if you're looking for something fun, and they actually give a percentage of their sales to endangered species organizations. So yeah, they would be my number one suggestion if you're looking for a faux fur brand.
Perfect. Yeah. Okay, awesome. I'll link to them in the notes. And if anyone wants to get in touch with you, what's the best way?
My website again.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I have Facebook, Instagram, this, that, but like I just direct everyone to the website, and there's a contact form on there, and it comes straight to my email. I'm the only one here. I'm a one-woman show, so I get everything. It's not going to get lost anywhere. So,
yeah. Okay. Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I was just thinking, are any of them around that we can peek at them really quick? Or are they hiding or sleeping?
Probably. Oh, there's Libby. Hold on. Do you want to see?
Oh, hi, sweetheart.
There's Libby.
Hi, Libby. Not that you can see. Well, maybe. She knows when the camera's on her, right?
Yeah.
Hi.
What are you doing?
Hi. Gosh, they are just so precious. My goodness.
Let me see if I can rouse the babies, because I'm sure everyone wants to see baby foxes.
Babies. Reef is, oh my goodness.
He is.
He is so cute.
He is too much for me to handle. His personality is off charts. Hold on. And this is why I'm glad I see babies. Hey, Coral.
Oh, hi, Coral. Hi.
Am I holding it right?
Yes, yeah, I can see her. Yes. Hi, sweetheart. Oh, she's just waking up and yawning. Those ears. Oh my goodness. How precious.
And Reef's probably under the bed.
It's amazing how comfortable they are with you.
Yeah. That's really the advantage. I had always said I wanted to rescue a kit, and I'm glad I got Reef first because he's a maniac. So Coral is just the sweetest thing ever, but I always said I'm going to write a book called Raising Reef because he has been, it's been one of the most amazing experiences of my life, but I'm used to infant domesticated animals that respond and he is just all crazy all the time, but he is such a love bug when no one's looking, such an amazing personality, and they're all so different, and I think that's what people don't get. They see a fox in the wild and they're like, oh, it's a fox. but you don't realize you're not following that fox to see what it does or how it acts, you know. So these guys, they're incredible. They're, you know, they're crazy. They're crazy, crazy good. It's amazing. It's been one of the most amazing experiences of my life, getting to raise two kits that have known nothing but love and affection from day one. So
Oh gosh, it is so amazing. And yeah, thank you so much for all of the work that you do. And that's why everybody is supporting you, from your Facebook page, from your group, because it's incredible. And
yeah.
it's not everyone is willing to do that,
No,
so
it takes
yeah.
a lot, you know. It's a lot of little blood, sweat, and tears sometimes, you know. If they get sick, you know, like Coral was sick for a while when I got her, and you know, it's emotional. I didn't even know her, but you know, like my heart was breaking because she came with an infection from the fur farm. So it was just, yeah, it's a lot. It's very emotional, but oh so rewarding, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, makes sense. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We can sign off of this. And
Okay.
then for anyone who is watching or listening to this later, you can find all of the show notes with the links to everything we talked about at foranimalsforearth.com/podcast/56. So we will see you all later next time. Bye.
Bye.